Okay, folks, here's three of my favorite cameras right now. I also like the OM1 Mark II, the G9 II, and the G8 VII for the Micro Four Thirds. I got the A7 V, A7CR, which are my favorite, but I also have the A6700 and the A6100. And then on the Nikon, I had the ZF, 4ZRs, and a Z8. Okay. I also have the Nikon 1, J5, and V3. But this is about these three cameras right here. 40 millimeter f2 TT Artisan on the Nikon ZF, the 40 millimeter G lens f2.5 on the Sony A7CR, and then the 20 millimeter f1.7 on the OM3. So, all in aperture priority. This is a 20 megapixel, 61 megapixel, 25 megapixel. Okay. Auto ISO on all in aperture priority, like I said. So let's take a look at some pictures. Okay. So we're going to start off with the ZF. Okay. I like the camera and stuff. I do see a little vignetting here, but I'm going to do a full screen slideshow and just talk you through it. So you can see the beautiful flowers from the crepe myrtle, almost a full moon. My rock collection right there with the cement. Now, it does have problems with the dog if he's moving. But most cameras do too, because he gets excited and he runs around. It does look kind of dark. It is at sunset when I took these pictures, but still everything is sharp and clear. And he's chewing on another branch. Went out to the front where there's more sunlight, less shade. So you can take a look at all these pictures. And then a close-up with that 40 millimeter f2. Now the wind was blowing on that one, okay? So if it's moving, it had a hard time. But even then, the wind was blowing right there. And I might have been a little bit too close. And finish off with the crepe myrtle. So I'll close that. Now, I did another experiment with the OM3. I tried a couple lenses, the 12 to 32 and the 14 to 24 by Olympus. And they did much better than on the, let's say, the GX1 or the GX850 because they have no stabilization. And at the 42 millimeter on the Olympus, it was just awful, you know, and I've said that in previous videos, but even the 14 didn't look too good. The 12 to 32 did a little bit better from Panasonic, but both lenses aren't stabilized and I do shake a lot. So what I'm thinking of is I just won't use those lenses. I just been buying lenses that are either primes that are a little bit heavier where I can keep it stable, or if they have the stabilization built into the lens to work with the cameras. So here's the shot of my dog right there using one of the lenses. Come on. There we go. And you see he was moving. Took a shot of the ZF. Took some shots at nighttime. And this is the OM3, okay? But when I'm using this 20 millimeter lens, look how everything is sharp. All right, look at the stars, and then look at the clouds. All right, so I was pretty impressed. I did cap it at 1600. Shade. This was from last night, but still, you can see the stars. So this is why I'm so impressed with the Micro Four Thirds. All right. I have a disagreement with the aperture part because they say it's actually like a 3.4 instead of a 1.7. That all looks good to me. So, but anyway, on each shot, I want to show you, look at all the stars. On almost a full, bright, full moon, okay? Everything is sharp. Look at the light. And this was capped at 1600 ISO. And of course, started panning around. I did change the white balance. So this is automatic white balance. All the other shots were automatic white balance, but I am going to change it. Now, the wind was blowing, so anything that wasn't moved by the wind looked sharp. But with the breeze that we were having past 2 days, everything is moving on the plants and trees. And you can see my shadow, but look how everything is sharp, bright, and this is at nighttime, folks. So some people say, well, Micro Four Thirds, not worth it. I disagree totally. That's why I started this channel. I don't really take all the views of what I see. If something interests me, well, I got to find out for myself. So in my honest opinion, this camera is doing a great job at nighttime. How do you know if it's nighttime? Well, the lights are on. Okay. Here's the hospital. They're working on the outside. But look at the stars. It's just unreal. And then, of course, down the street one way, and that's a headlight of a car that just parked there. That's a street lamp. So they cut back part of the tree there too. And of course, my neighbor cut down that big tree that was here and planted this rosebud tree. I think it's the same thing as this one. And I think she has another one right there. But see, you can still see some stars. All right. Excellent. That stop sign is crooked, by the way. No distortion. And this is with the 20 millimeter f1.7 pancake lens. Now I changed the white balance to see if it was, I think it was like at 3000K, just to see if there was difference. And it did look different because that shot was sharp. This one wasn't, but I might have been moving at that time too. You know, just experiment with the camera, see what looks good. But you see, when you get that 3027 or 2500K, you know, type of lighting, it does give kind of like a bluish tint to it. And then, of course, just before going outside, I was experimenting with that 12 to 32 again, and the 14 to 28, I believe, the EZ. So this looked a lot sharper at 12 millimeters, but still, you know, it's pixelated. I go back to the previous one. This is at 42 millimeters. But you see, with a 20 megapixel camera, you just really can't crop in, all right? And I wanted to show that also. Far away, it looks like a good picture. You just have to move closer. Here's another example. You see? And I can't remember which one I used at that time. They'll tell me. Yeah, 14 to 42. That's what it was. Okay. $14, $42. And even here at 42, that was okay, but still, all right. You can start to see it, but at least it was sharp on a newer camera. On the GX1 and the GX850, yes, they have less megapixels, a 16, but with no stabilization in those cameras, it was just awful pictures. I think this is the 12 to 32, but you see, even then that shook. So I try to redo it, and that one was better. And I think this is the 1232. Yes, it was. Okay, my memory isn't leaving. So you can see, you can get some sharp pictures. Now, back to the 40 millimeter, or I should say 20 millimeter, f1.7. This is version 2 of the lens. And remember, you can't crop, but you can see some purple fringing, right? And this is on the OM3, not the OM1 Mark II. But even then, if you take a look at my dog, that's pretty sharp. But remember, you can't crop, all right, that much. So sometimes the picture looks better farther away. I messed up there. Then I got another shot of my dog. See, that's a pretty good shot right there. And you see it was moving, his tail was moving, but if he's standing still, he's sharp. So I wanted to point that out. The ZF and OM3 had that problem. And then of course it's kind of dark right here. But if it was still in the daylight or sunlight, look how sharp the pictures are. And then out in the front, look at those beautiful flowers. I love the color rendition from the OM3, a little bit better than the ZF. And it's supposed to be equivalent to a 40 millimeter, but I think it's a little bit less, okay? And you see the wind was blowing on that one too. And I might have been a little bit too close on that one. So let's go to the third and final camera. All right, Sony A7CR, 61 megapixel, 40 millimeter f2.5 lens. I don't think I had any problems with this. And if we're going to talk about cropping, no problem, folks. It is kind of pixelating a little bit right there, but still things look pretty sharp. But look at that. It's almost like three-dimensional. You can see the blurriness in the background. And this is from a 40 millimeter full frame lens, all right? So you do get the advantage of more bokeh, but with the higher megapixels, look at that. So it's sharp right here, then it starts blurring. So I was trying for this area and this got in the way. The live oak got in the way. But, example, look how sharp my dog is. And you see his tail was wagging. But look at that. That's why you get a high megapixel camera. You can crop in. You still can get a blurriness and bokeh in the background. I mean, it's fantastic. All right. Look at the clouds. Gorgeous. It all looks three-dimensional. All right. And then another shot of the flowers, crepe myrtles. You know, I just went crazy with the A7CR. Okay. This is my street photography camera. This is what I use with the 40 millimeter. I got a 28 millimeter. I also have the 35 millimeter. They're both small lenses at 2.8. I think the 28 is a f2. But, you know, that camera and that 28 millimeter is like the Leica Q3. The only difference is you can crop once, unless you put it in RAW, and then you can just keep cropping. But in post, but in the Leica Q3, you can have like a 28, 35, 50, 70, 90. Less megapixels as you zoom in. But you see, little crepe myrtles, I've never seen them grow underneath the leaves by my, it's at my neighbor's yard. So we've had a good rain this year and the flowers bloomed early all over the place. And look at that. The treehouse, the moon. Okay. Look at that. And with the wind, it blew the trampoline a little bit to the left. I thought that was funny. But earlier, when I was taking pictures of the other two cameras, it was over here. And you would see a net. So the guy is moving and he's taking stuff out slowly. Okay. So he has a trampoline there and then he has the slide in treehouse. So I don't know if he's going to take that, because that's a lot of work of just dismantling and then putting it up and towing it away. But look at this. I always like this shot, but these leaves are getting in front, but it's a good shot. And then my dog. Now he was moving and you see a little blurriness right here. Whoops. But then I got a better shot of him right there. Look at that. Now, you do see more noise, okay? I want to point that out also. But, you know, they have software to remove all that. Went out in the front where there's more light. You can see the crepe myrtle. They're just blooming. This one is blooming. I redid the today. I spent over $500. I'm ready to do my fence, which I'll start tomorrow. But I got some more mulch and topsoil for these trees. But look at that. And the wind was blowing. But look at the blurriness. Okay, you know that's the Jeep right there. But a 61 megapixel camera. Look at that. I got the best pictures with the A7CR. And that's why I use it with my street photography. And that's the last picture. So I think, which one I'm going to leave it on? I'll leave it there. Now I'll leave it right there. What's this? That looks good. Yeah, I don't want to leave the Jeep in there. I'll leave it. Well, I could do it something like this. Not much to move around. See, that's blurry there, that's blurry. The ones behind it is blurry. This is starting to blur. Gorgeous, right? So is there a verdict? Well, they all take great pictures, okay? When I take this camera out, everybody comes up to me and they say, what type of film camera it is? It's gorgeous, okay? When I take this one out, no one even looks at me because it's small, tiny, okay? Why did I get this? Well, the weight, the size, look at the lens, okay? Can this perform like the ZF? I got different lenses. I got now more for the Micro Four Thirds to cover the zoom and primes. I don't have any 1.2s anymore, anywhere. It's either 1.4 or 1.8 or 1.7 or that's it. But this camera did okay. The stabilization is unreal. It's better than this, but this lacks the megapixels. Okay, this is 20. This is a 61. All right, but it has a problem with noise. But you can fix that in post. With this, I've cropped some images and stuff, like the video yesterday with the deer and stuff, and it wasn't pixelated, but I had more light at that time. Okay. ZF, well, you know about the ZF. I've done a lot of videos with it. I love this lens, the way it looks. It's kind of like eye candy. But the heaviest is this camera, the second heaviest, and the lightest. So I think this is like 2.2 pounds. This is like, oh, let's see if I remember right on the grams. Okay. And I get confused with kilograms and grams. Kilograms, I think, is more. I get mixed up like centimeters, meters, stuff like that. So that's 1,000. So anyway, on the ZF, 2.2 pounds. This is 1.49. So this was like 912 grams. This was 593, and this was in the middle. Okay. And that surprised me because this is heavier. And look at it. It is bigger. This one has the extension. So does this. I put an extension there. And basically the lens, now the lens hood makes it larger. So in the depth, this is deeper than that. But, in the size and stuff, this is a little bit longer, but it has no grip. It's very light. And I like it for the portability. Okay. So I'm still working on that. I still like the OM12 and the G87 and the G92. Okay. But the one camera I've been going to more is the Sony A7CR. But the reason why I have this channel is basically to show you what I believe, in my opinion, and I do make mistakes now and then, but once I learn the system, then I get better at it. But the thing is, you try things out, you see if it works for you. The reason why I like Micro Four Thirds, the small lenses, okay? The cameras may almost weigh the same, all right? But the lenses make the difference. If you put the 60 to 600 on here, I usually put that on the A7 IV because it's a bigger camera, or the bigger lens, that I have, like from the F mount to 180 to 600, the 600, 400, 200. I got the 2 to 500. I got the 70 to 200 on both C and F. So I can use some lenses on this, but basically it's on the Z8, which is a 45 megapixel camera. This is a 61. This is only a 20. G9 II, G8 is 25 megapixel. The M1 Mark II is a 20. So there's some plus and minuses for each camera. And depending on what lens you put on here, I can put the 12 millimeter f1.4 and you won't see any color fringing. Okay. So they did add some coatings to this second version to reduce the flaring, but I don't think in this camera it has any correction with the purple fringing and stuff. So anyway, want to point out the plus and minuses of each camera. You saw all the pictures. Let me know down in the comments what you think, what your favorite system is. I've owned Canon. I've owned the Panasonic L mount. I've owned Leica L mount. But I got rid of those because I wasn't using them. I was tending either to Nikon, Sony, and now I'm with the Micro Four Thirds. Okay. And so, thank you for watching. Remember to stay safe, keep smiling, and I'll see you next time. Bye, folks. Have a wonderful day.